Who sucks? Your compass sucks? Compass? Compass is boring. Okay. Start with construction number 1, copy a segments. So you're going to put an X at one end of the line that they made and a Y at the other end. You got to follow along with me. You got to do stuff while I'm doing it. So then, it says draw a line and put a point on the line. So I'm just going to use my straight edge. No one should be talking. And draw a line. Make it longer than XY. Just a little bit longer is fine. And I'm going to put a point right there and call it P. So far, so good? Alright, so now you're going to take your compass. And you're going to use it to measure XY. So you put like a point at each, like a tip at each point, you know? One thing at each end. And then you're going to keep that length the same. And you're going to bump it over to the line that you made. Put a little swoop there. It's usually easier to like keep your pencil there and move the paper rather than slide the compass. So I measured XY. Okay. So I keep that length the same and I go over here. And I'm just putting a mark. And then that becomes point Q. And now those two are the exact same length. I mean, I don't know if it's exact same because these compasses aren't perfect, but the idea is we're recreating, you know, however many inches that is, that should be the same. So I'm going to do number 1 on the practice, then you guys will do 2. Same thing, we're going to label X and Y. We'll draw another line off to the side. Call that point B. Make sure your line is longer than this line, so you can put a mark on it. Once you have that, use your compass like to measure. So that's telling me how long it is. I'm going to take that measurement over to my new line. Make a little mark with the lead, with the pencil. That means that is point Q. And now these two, X, Y, and PQ, are exactly the same. Measure. Questions I can answer on how to do that? Just floppy again. So you guys do 2 and 3. You want to put a dot. So I see a few of you that just have the swoop. I see some of you that just put the Q. I want the dot where they cross and the Q. Like parallel. I did that. It was just like eyeballing. Any certain way that made it actually. So I'll give everyone a few minutes to do this one, and we'll flip to the next. We're going to go through 4 different drawings. Now we are trying to bisect a segment. Anybody know what bisect means? Take apart part of it. Kind of. Not bad. What's bisect mean? What are you guys talking about back there? Basically, I'm saying shut up. What does bisect mean? I'm going to go through it, but I'm going to go through it at a specific spot. Yeah. They are going to, I want to bisect this line. Kind of. Nobody has known that answer all day, so don't like feel bad. Yeah, bisect means I'm going to cut it in half. That's what I'm trying to do is cut it in half. So I want to put a line like somewhere around there, right? Be right in the middle. Okay, so put X on one side, put Y on the other side. And then you're going to take your compass, put the point at the X, and make it bigger than half. It doesn't matter like really where, as long as it's bigger than halfway across the line. And then you're going to make a half circle. Keep your compass the same when you lift it up. You guys see the pencil on there? Pretty light. You good? Then you keep the compass the same, then you're gonna go to Y and do the same thing. You should have two arcs. They intersect up there and down there. And if you draw a line, use your ruler. Between those 2 points, we have just cut this line in half. So I'm going to call that point. So I'll do it again. I'll do number 1. But I know it's hard to ask questions on something like this, but I think I can go over again on the top example. What's up, Reed? I didn't hear you. Okay. Okay. So let's go to, how about number 1 now? I'm going to put an X here at one side and a Y here at the other. And then you want it to be a little bigger than half. Actually, it doesn't a lot bigger than half is fine, but at some point you're just like off the page. So just a little bigger than half is good. Go to the X. Do your swoop. You got like a half circle. Start at the X and make your half circle. And then what? Go to the Y. Exact same thing. You want your thing to still be the same length. Make your half circle there. And you should get a point above the line where the 2 swoops cross. And below the line where the 2 swoops cross. You're going to connect those. That is supposed to cut this line exactly in half. It doesn't look perfect to me at all. But do the best we can with the tools that we have. That point in the middle we're going to call M for midpoint, or middle, or Milan, or Michigan. And whatever you want. Yeah. All right, I can fix that. Is there a screw on the top? You guys are not doing anything wrong. They're just crappy compasses. The good news, I emailed Mr. Shin. Literally, like 9:35, I emailed him and said, "Hey, our compasses suck. Can we ever do one? Here's a link." At 9:36, he wrote back and said, "So we'll have new, hopefully better compasses next week." For now, that's what we got. You guys aren't doing it wrong. see this level. So you're doing 2 and 3, right? Which one is that? Is that the top one? No, you didn't. So you cut that. This was for the X, right? You cut that circle going. Then you did this way where the 2 circles go. You just don't really have to draw the cross over there. Was that wrong? It's got it. It's perfect. That one you might want to next time make that a little bigger, but it works. So you make it too small. It's like don't touch or barely touch. Oh, no, that's cool. Yeah. How many are still working on the second one? I don't care. I'm just like trying to figure out when I should go on. Raise your hand if you're still on number 2. Okay. A couple raise their hands and a couple that I can tell are still working that just didn't raise their hands. Okay. I got you. For this one? Pick a. Make sure it's like bigger than half. And then you're just going to do an arc from each end. So, half circle. Half circle here. And then you flip to the other end and do a half circle there. And then you get those 2 points. Does that help? That'd be tight. Xander, do you need a different one or tightened or something? Alright, let's get to the. Oh, look, your lead just got going in. Yeah. I don't know. So I've got this angle, it's like two arrows with space in between, you know, and I want to make that exact same angle somewhere else. So we got to start by labeling. This is point P, the vertex of that angle, or the corner of that angle, we're going to call P. Then draw a line like just somewhere off to the side. Make it bigger. And then call this T. Alright, now you're going to take your... Now there'll be new ones on Tuesday. So we're going to make an arc. Wow. Bless you. We're going to make an arc. It doesn't really matter where. You just want to make sure you cross both lines. And the further away from the P that you are, it's a little easier. So try and get kind of close to the end. What? Oh, sorry to interrupt. Call those Q and R, the 2 points where those intersect. You with me? Okay, keep that measure the same, like, or maybe you changed it, but you want to do that same arc that you did here, over here, starting from the T. That distance and that distance are the same. They're really like the same arc. Okay. Now, measure the distance between Q and R with your compass. So, put them so there's one thing at each endpoint. With me? Now go to the spot where that arc over here crossed the line. So this point here, it should have labeled. This is S down here. So we got to measure the distance like between the Q and the R, and then I'm going to my S, and I'm drawing an arc there. And it should cross the arc that I had before, giving me a point I'm going to call U. And then I connect it to T. I'm going to do another one. Don't worry about it. And then, in theory, these are the same angle. Now, the compass isn't perfect. I'm not perfect. So it's close. Just trying to learn the process. So if you think you're good, go ahead and do 1 and 2. I'm going to do number 1. If you want to watch as another example, let's do it. This is point P over here. I'm going to start there and make an arc. Doesn't really matter where. It does get a little easier if you're kind of far away from the P. Can you see the lines? You can from back there? Okay, that's good. Alright, so then this is a Q on top and an R on the bottom. What next? Anybody? I gotta make a line. So I'm just going over here and making a line. What do I call it this point right there? Alright, so whatever arc I made before, get to the QR, I'm going to make on my new line, but starting from T. Again, I think it's easier to move the paper than it is to move the compass. So I get that. What do I call this point out here? That is S. with me? So QR, I'm going to measure that distance, like how far apart are this Q and this R. I do that with my compass. And then I just take that over, I go to S, and I make another swoop. So you can make the whole big circle if you want, or you can just make like the little part where you're just looking for this point. Some of you guys have like a big circle, like you're afraid it was wrong. It's totally fine. What do I call this guy? U. Yep. And one more thing. That's pretty good. So those are supposed to be the same. Same slope, same slant, same tilt, whatever you want to call that. So you guys do 2. Yeah. Need help or tightening? Need a new one? Yeah, well, that's gone. This is a good one here. That one a lot better. Looks good. All right, let's go to the fourth one. This is all we're doing today. There's 4 of them. It took the whole hour, first hour. Just because the compasses. So you guys might finish a little early. I'm not going to take you past what they did. So bisect an angle. So what does bisect mean? Done that. So we're trying to do like, it should look kind of like along there. We'll go right through the middle. So this is A. We're going to draw an arc through both sides. Like this. I'm going to call those 2 intersection points B and C. So you actually don't need to keep it the same, but I think it kind of works best if you do keep it the same. Anything like in a similar length, I'm going to start at B, and what I'm looking for is like out here. I'm going to make 2 swoops that are going to cross each other out here somewhere. Then I'm going to draw a line through those. So starting at B, you can make the whole circle if you want, but really all you need is like this part over here. Then you're going to keep your compass the same. Go to C and do the same thing. It should cross the one you just made. Got out here to the right. Where those 2 things cross, I'm going to call that D. And then what's the only thing I have left to do? connect A and D. Connect this John to that John. And then this one looks pretty good. Like the idea is that this part here and this part here are like the same angle. Questions on what I did on that one? So I'll do number 1. If you want to follow along, that's great. And then you guys are going to have to do 2 and 3. Call this guy A. I'm going to make a swoop that goes through both. What am I calling those 2 points? Tanner's is still goofy. It's still bad. I'll finish up with those. So now you go to B, and you're going to do a swoop that you're going to end up like over here off to the right. So I want a swoop that goes through this area. And if you really want to draw the whole circle, there's nothing wrong with it. It's just like a lot of extra work. You got a big circle on your paper, but that's not wrong. Keep it the same as it was, and go to C. Do a swoop there, or more than a swoop if you want to do the whole circle. Then, what am I calling this, John, where these 2 intersect? D. And I connect those 2 points. So I'm trying to cut that angle in half. It looks pretty close from what I just did. You're not turning anything in on Schoology today. I'm just going to collect that packet when we're done with it, which will be like a few days. But for today, like when you're done with number 4, you're done. That's as far as we got in other classes. That's as far as we're going to go here. And we'll keep rocking it on Monday. Finish up the 4th. We'll finish up the ones we're doing today. And then if you could return, when you're done, return your compass to the desk out here.